Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the P-LotPodcast. John here, joined once again by the main man himself, Michael Angelo. Michael, Saturday we have an Eagles game today. The
Yes.
odd, very odd Eagles Saturday regular season game. Eagles play the most non-Sunday games in the NFL this year. This hopefully would be like the last one.
In the regular season, it will be, yes.
In the regular season.
But how we doing, John? How are we doing on this fine Saturday morning?
Oh, we're we're doing well. I got plenty of sleep. I'm going to go out later to go watch the Flyers at noon play the I think the Flyers' biggest rival, which is the New York Rangers, at Madison Square Garden, where the Rangers only have 4 wins at home this year, coming
Yeah.
off a brutal loss to the Buffalo Sabres, where Sam Harrison plays like poop. I mean,
I mean, they dominated most of that game, and then, just keeping up with the shot counter in general, it was like Flyers were out shooting them, 22-10, and then you kinda blinked, and it was, 26-23 in shots, and I was like, "Okay, so they just kinda went in the turtle shell here." But, whatever. Doesn't matter a ton. They called up Denver Barkey, so that'll be fun to see his debut today.
is he going to actually play today?
He was called up, man. He's gonna, they didn't call him up for nothing, I think, right? So
Yeah.
I hope he plays. But
I think yeah, you know what? I'll say this with the unfortunate news this week of one of my favorite players on the Flyers, Tyson Forster, essentially out for the season with that arm injury.
yeah, which sucks, but ultimately, you know, there's no reason to rush anything. It's just an unfortunate freak thing,
Yeah. So
and
well,
we'll see him
so
next year.
I will say
Um,
this though about Denver Barkey. Obviously, he was killing it with the Phantoms. Like, I don't want to see him on the fourth line getting 6 minutes a game. Like, that's not
no, I mean, I'd
like
like to see him. We'll see. We have no idea. They're always doing something a little stupid. But we do have some other non-football news to get into. Not the Sixers beating the Knicks last night, which was an awesome game. Shout out, pretty much everybody played well. Drummond was awesome. Maxey was great as usual. Edgecombe really took over in the fourth. McCain had a really nice stretch to start the fourth. Um, Barlow played really well defensively. Jabari Walker played well. It
Philadelphia,
just shout out,
Philadelphia
man.
home at home at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, so it'd be nice to sweep that and get a win today because that was a really nice Sixers win last night. So yeah, big news, I would say, in the world of baseball for the Philadelphia Phillies. Matt Strom, uh, will be traded back to his former team, the Kansas City Royals, for Jonathan Bowlan,
Poland.
Bowlan, Bowlan. Um, Interesting move from the Phillies. Rumors were coming out that he was likely to be traded, and it was something that I didn't think we all thought it was a possibility, but then it came out turns out it was likely, and that's very interesting. Matt Strahm was probably the best left-hand reliever available, and you got a contract-controlled older reliever. You get, 6 years of control for him, and, you know, on paper, this is, a lot of the big pundits like, "Oh, slam dunk win for the Royals here, all this is great." And not to say that the Royals aren't gonna get a nice pitcher in Strom, but the Phillies were kinda doing this as a bit of a salary dump. They probably coulda got more in terms of maybe a prospect from a team or, you know, a bit of a more impactful player, but the salaries matching up. However, they did just wanna cut the salary a little bit, and this is like a new not s yeah, it's hard to verbalize, but it's the way that smart teams are kind of treating the bullpen these days, where it took the Phillies a little bit because 'cause we've gone through almost 4 years now of Corey Knebel, of Craig Kimbrell, of Jordan Romano, of, Brad Hand, of signing and acquiring veteran, used to be great relief pitchers that are maybe a year or two removed from some of their best stuff. And you're just kind of hoping that you can reconjure it when in reality, there's a decent chance that they're just flat out cooked. And the new philosophy now that teams are kind of directing and gearing towards, and especially the smart teams, is guys with years of control that we look at their stuff and like their arm slot and release point as opposed to how good their stats were in the previous year or previous 2 years. It's a lot more about the process of relievers as opposed to the results when looking to acquire guys. And if you look at this trade from that philosophy, a guy like Bolin, who was a 29-year-old rookie last year, you got all the control in the world. Like, relievers we know can pitch into their mid to upper 30s, and especially ones that take a while to get to the major league. So you have him for another 5 to 6 years on team control. And you look at, his stuff profiles well, and you look at Matt Strom as an asset, and he is definitely a declining asset. His strikeout rate dropped from 34% down to 27% last year to this year. His walk rate went up. His fly ball rate went up, which in turn led to more home runs, as we saw in both the regular season and the postseason. And even though he still put up nice numbers and he takes the ball almost every day and all that sort of stuff, where he is a valuable piece to have, he is a declining asset. His velocity dipped, the stuff dipped. He wasn't getting as much swing and miss, wasn't striking out as much guys. And I think the Phillies wanted to jump ship before things got ugly. And also, there was also some behind the scenes stuff that maybe led to them not being as upset having to move on from him. Um, but on a strictly baseball standpoint, I see where the Phillies are coming from, and I do think it makes sense. I don't think Strom is gonna suck this upcoming season for Kansas City, but I do think he might not be as good for what he would have been trusted to do here, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I agree. I agree with you.
And I loved Matt Strom, man. A really nice reliever here for multiple
I
years.
did get the vibe at times last year that when he would come in late in games,
Mhm.
especially near the end of the season, he was just kind of unreliable. Like he ran out of gas. Like he's ran out of gas the last 2 years, in mid to late September and in the playoffs. And I think if you look at his usage rate, like since he's joined the Phillies, his first year, keep in mind he was an opener um for like
The beginning of his Phillies tenure for a couple months, you
for
know?
a couple months. He had his second most career innings in 87.2 innings in 2023. Then last year, when he was an all star, he pitched 62.2 innings. And then last year, he pitched 62.1 innings. That's the most innings he's consecutively ever pitched in his major league career. And I think the fact that the Phillies could only conjure up a 29-year-old rookie from the Royals who was up and down for Kansas City last year. Like, yeah, man. I mean, that's kind of like, kind of what you brought up. It's just for the Royals. This is kind of like a Corey Knebel or a Jordan Romano. Like, it's funny. It's like, because those guys were like salvage jobs. On paper, this isn't a salvage job. It's not like Matt Strom was like hurt half the year and he had like a 4.00 ERA.
No, but it's like the numbers look good, but the process got worse. That's just flat out what it was. Like if he's going to a pitcher friendly park, which helps too. But like if the home run numbers take a nice jump this year, I wouldn't be totally surprised. His fly ball rate went
Well,
up a lot
Kansas
last
City
year.
is one of the hardest stadiums to hit home runs in.
Sure, I'm just saying.
Kauffman
Like,
Stadium.
wait,
So,
we're gonna see him pitch. We're gonna see how he looks, and the Phillies. I think we're just trying to save some money towards the handful of things that they need some money for, as well as get off a guy that maybe was rubbing some of the coaches and players, not necessarily the wrong way, but was very outspoken and critical about certain processes that the team was doing. And while they all respected him as a teammate and as a player, I think a guy that wasn't afraid to speak his mind, was kinda shaking things up sometimes with a unit that, all in all, was pretty reliable. People can shit on the bullpen all they wanna do, but, like, for the most part, it was actually, like, pretty good again, last year especially,
Well, the
so
second half, it was very good, and then, the issue with the Phillies wasn't that the bullpen itself, I think,
I mean, it's always the bats, it's ultimately
cost
always the
them games. It
bats.
was they couldn't hit, you know?
Right, like, it's always that. So, this Strom move, it's a part of that bigger philosophy. They also made a trade for that guy Backhouse from the Arizona Diamondbacks. They traded a prospect for that actually some Phillies, like, minor league people were pretty excited for this upcoming season, thought he was a prospect that could pop, but he will be now part of the Arizona system, and they acquired, I think Drew Backhouse is his name, Backhouse, but funky left-handed reliever delivery, great stats against left-handed hitting, and Bowlen has had a really nice stats last year against right-handed hitting, so they kinda they kinda just remade Strom in the aggregate with those 2, as Strom was a guy that was the only, like, left-handed relievers that were better at getting right-handed hitters out over the last 3 years were Aroldis Chapman and Josh Hader. So, Chapman, Hader, and Strom are the best 3 lefties at getting right-handed hitters out, and they got a righty that is really good at getting righties out and a lefty that's really good at getting lefties out over that last day as well. So, the bullpen's kinda taking shape. Dave Dombrowski spoke. They have a lot of belief in Alvarado to get back to his old form, which, that's a pretty big hope, but I do think it's there, and it would be great. They also believe in Tanner Banks replicating a lot of his success that he had last year, which, not for nothing, I kind of believe in too. There's a part of me that's a little worried, but I do think what he had was pretty sustainable, and I think that you know, he was one of those weirder guys that pitched better in higher leverage situations, so he's gonna be getting more of those this year. Um, the bullpen, I'm not, like, super worried about the bullpen. Obviously, you need the lefties to be solid, but I like what they did with it. They clearly felt they needed right-handed relief depth, and they got it.
I agree.
Um, and I guess all that's left is just to kinda see what happens with JT. That's getting a little dicey. They're saying it's still expected that he's gonna be back with the Phillies, but when you have Matt Gelb reporting it's no guarantee as opposed to like a Ken Rosenthal or like a Bob Nightingale or something, I think that's gets me, like, a little worried. Again, not that JT's the best catcher in the world, but he still is very, very important to this
No,
team and a huge
well,
need, you
well,
know?
see, Michael, this is the issue you have when you let a guy hit free agency. And listen, when you're a free agent, Michael, any team can call your agent and say, "Hey, I know JT likes Philly, but would he be cool if we send our jet to go pick him up and have him come out to?"
The issue with this is I don't think he's getting courted like that as much as I think he's holding out on the Phillies to try to get a 3rd year, but I don't think he'd get a 3rd year from anybody, to be completely honest with you. The
Well,
way
not if we're going to lock everybody out next year. Why would
Well,
you?
I mean, he would have gotten a 3rd I think the 3rd year if the 3rd year was being offered from outside teams, he would have already been brought back on a 3-year deal to the Phillies. But I think since there isn't a
Yeah,
lot of
and
noise in that
well, I
department,
think
the
not
Phillies
just
aren't
that
gonna
too,
throw it out
Michael.
there.
Not just that too. I think people look at JT Real Muto and the Phillies almost similar to how like Yadier Molina was with the Cardinals, where he could just be total ass, but like the way he handles the pitching staff, the way he is in the clubhouse, it's like that he has intrinsic value to the franchise where he wouldn't have that if he left and went to like the Angels.
Sure. No, yeah, absolutely. He's very important here, and I think he recognizes how much we need him more than he needs us. That's kind of the MO with all the Phillies sort of free
I think it's
agents.
I think the fact they didn't really negotiate at all with him until now. I had this feeling that they kind of low key thought Rafael
They just
Marquez.
assume.
I think
No, I don't think so at all.
no, or I think they. I don't know. I think they thought there was going to
No.
be. like someone to emerge
I
that
don't
would
think so.
be
They
like
haven't
a JT
acquired anybody.
replacement.
Like, I think that if they believed in Marshawn, he wouldn't have not been the backup catcher until this year. You know what I mean? He was sitting in the minor leagues hitting like hot ass. Like, they would have made him the backup over Stubbs earlier than what it took.
You know what? I
But
actually kind of,
earlier than when it took him that he had no
well,
options left. Like,
you know what?
that's
I
what it
actually,
took.
you know what? I also kind of thought too, Michael, as well, with Strom being dangled. Here's a hypothetical I thought of. What if the Phillies offered Strom to the Orioles for Adley? Because Adley's going to be traded, and the Orioles are like really making a strong push to improve their pitching staff.
Maybe. I don't think. I think if they really were that hell-bent on it, I think they would've kinda done it. You know what I mean? I think
Well, there's a report
I
that came
think
out
they
the
wanted to
Phillies are
spend that money
talking to
with
Victor
Trump.
Tarantini.
Yeah, I saw that, which I don't know how much I trust whatever that T Twitter source was, 'cause whatever. I ultimately think a lot of the plan B stuff is a little smoke and mirrory, just a little bit, but I do think that if JT really starts waiting around too long for a 3rd year, there is a chance they start to pivot, but I don't know, I just can't see it. I think that the pitchers in the building would be pretty distraught without him, and
I
I
mean,
think
I thought the whole
ultimately
point.
they're gonna end up overpaying him, and,
Let's
like,
go
that's
back to
fine.
the Strom trade for just a second. They dumped his contract, like straight up dumped. And the two most plausible reasons why they would dump him and create a potential hole in their bullpen. Well, is one, they're basically gonna cut Casty, right? So you got to
Yeah,
offset
I mean, no
some
one
of
wants
that
him.
money, or they're going to agree to a buyout and you know defer the money down the road potentially, or it's to bring back JT, it's to get them to free up the funds to bring him back,
I mean, it's a lot of there's if they wanna
or sign
dump if
Imai.
they wanna dump Castellanos, that's gonna cost money. They wanna bring back JT, that's gonna cost money. If they wanna go sign Tetsuya Imai, that's gonna cost money. If they wanna trade Taiwan Walker, that might also have to cost money to buy his contract down a little
Well,
bit.
no, they don't. If they don't sign Tetsuya Imai, Michael, you kind of shouldn't trade Taiwan Walker because you're going to lose Ranger in free agency, and like Wheeler's status is up in the air. Like
I mean, I
I
hear
mean, you
you.
want to be optimistic, but you
I
also
think they're gonna to be honest, I think they're really gonna push for Imai. Like, I do. But we'll see. Obviously I think if it's not Amai, they're probably not gonna do anything massive, but I'd be shocked. I still would be shocked if JT's not back.
I agree. I
I
would
think he
put him
knows where
returning
home
at like,
is.
I mean, him returning right now is like 95% likely.
I'd hope so. But I hope he really isn't like, I know he wants that 3rd year, but I don't think any team's gonna wanna give it to him because if you're not the Phillies and you just look at if you look at all the numbers with him and you watch him play on a nightly basis, I mean, as an outside team, I wouldn't be super enticed. It's a very inconsistent bat, and it's a guy that I'm not saying is lazy back there, but it's like when you talk about framing and stuff, it's definitely down. And with the ABS system, it shouldn't matter as much, and he still has the pop time, but the blocking and the framing is really just taken a huge hit over the last few years. It's not something that I don't think he's putting a ton of teams over the edge until you maybe start feeling his impact by his comfortability with the pitching staff by like the All-Star break. But again, that takes some time to even get to that point. Whereas the Phillies, obviously, they have all the value in the world of him knowing the staff like the back of his hand. So yeah, Phillies made a move, more moves to come. So yeah, things are still heating up on the hot stove. But we do have football to talk about. We had a Thursday night game that was really good. We had a little college football playoff action last night. That was a pretty good game, but we're here to talk about the NFL. And Thursday night football was nothing short of a classic. The Seattle Seahawks came from behind in the fourth quarter and defeated the Los Angeles Rams in overtime off a 2-point conversion, 38 to 37, and now control their own destiny to get the 1 seed and home field throughout the playoffs in the NFC, as the Rams are now staring down the barrel of a road playoff game, and the Niners are right on their tails where they might slip all the way to 3. You know what I mean? That is not a guarantee, that they can hold up and be second in their division and finish with, like, the 5 seed. They might slip all the way to 3 and have to come here for the first
Yeah,
round of playoffs.
I yes, and I don't know, Michael. Personally, though, like the Seahawks won. It was just a wacky game overall, like in my opinion, because at the beginning of the game, the Seahawks felt like they were in control. Then Cooper Cup had that really costly fumble in the red zone. Rams get the ball back. The Rams are just cooking the Seahawks on the ground. The Seahawks have the top rush defense in football. But, you sent me a tweet the other day about basically how Sean McVay's like run schemes are,
Amazing.
the best in the league, I guess, because we know Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams is a solid running back. He's not a great running back. And Blake
No,
Corum,
he'll never hit a home run. Like, when was the last time you see Kyron Williams break a 40-yard touchdown run? Even
never.
30-yard? You never see it, and it's like, we forget that Todd Gurley broke out in the Sean McVay system as if it wasn't, like, due to Sean McVay. You
Dude,
know what I mean?
Todd Gurley
Like,
was an MVP candidate in 2017.
hey, I mean, he had that run from 17, what was it, like, 16 to 18, or no, 17 to 18 with McVay, and that just total dominant run there, and it's like, everyone loves Gurley, but I don't think enough people credit the McVay offense for how good that running attack was, and when you have these great success rates with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, and they're both very solid running backs, but they're nothing special to the point of really threatening defenses where it's like, all right, we let them, get square behind their shoulders. There goes Kyron Williams for 50 yards. Like, that never happens.
I
Truly,
mean, if you're
never.
the Rams, you just call the Falcons back and be like, "Hey, we'll give you your first round pick back if you give us Bijan."
I mean, like, that's the sort of, in the post Stafford era, it'll be interesting to keep on an eye on the Rams on how they address the quarterback position, but I wouldn't be surprised if the post Stafford Rams, if they end up drafting a quarterback or someone young, like, it's not like, oh, they just go get
I
Burrow
was
or
thinking they just.
something.
I was gonna say they probably just traded for Burrow when.
I mean, if they don't trade for Burrow, if it's like not that, I think they're gonna get some big name running back and kind of build their offense a little differently with the cost controlled quarterback. But
Let's
regardless,
stay on the Rams before we go to the Seahawks. Let's just stay on the Rams. So, well, Michael, we said the Rams defense was their corners are bad. Well,
yeah, I mean, not a ton of defense was played, kind of at all in this game. There were some spurts here and there, but the Rams defense got cooked a lot,
Well, the Rams
especially down the
defense.
stretch.
Listen, the Rams defense is extremely opportunistic. They had two red zone. They forced two red zone turnovers. One was just an incredible play. Was it Cam Curl that punched it loose, or
I forget who
I
punched it
forget
loose,
who?
but
But Sam Darnold had a really bad red zone pick to a defensive lineman.
Kobe Turner, yeah, that was
Kobe Turner.
a nice something. It was a really nice sim pressure and drops it right in his face. And I mean, we're laughing, but Jalen threw that pick 2 weeks ago. So, it works. Teams run that for a reason. And sometimes you get a quarterback that's so locked in on just feeding their guy that you're not looking at anything else besides his one-on-one. And JSN had a little tiny bit of separation that if the D lineman's not there, it would be a very difficult catch, but it's possibly there. And he threw it right to Kobe Turner. Darnold. Well, we'll finish talking about the
No, really,
Rams.
keep talking about the Rams. So obviously, but then like when they weren't getting turnovers, that defense was just getting shredded.
Yeah, I mean the
Especially on the
biggest.
ground too, because
Yeah,
K9
yeah. Kenneth Walker had a great day. Charbonnet was solid, but
obviously Puka had
I
one
mean
of the best games by
Puka's the best receiver in the league. I think.
that's yes,
Yeah, like he's better.
we're not going
He
to
just is.
talk about his
No,
off-field
I mean
comments.
he's got rocks for brains. I mean that's not a shock. There's a reason. I think there's a reason he transferred from Washington to BYU. That is for lower IQ individuals, but
I was going to
he's a great
say he's
player.
because he's a scumbag.
No,
I mean, his brother's going to go to prison for stealing a
he's a
Lakers player's
scumbag and he's also an idiot. Like it's both things are pretty much true. But he is a great football player, that's for sure.
Let's just and then I want to talk
Dominant.
about I want to bring up like the Rams blowing this game, right? They blew the game. Like there's no maybe probably even worse than the Eagle game. They blew this, I think. Potentially.
I mean, semantics. We're splitting hairs here. But the
But
what was the big reason why they blew the Eagles game?
bad special teams.
Special teams, man. Special teams are a very important part of the game. It sometimes goes under talked about, underlooked,
Bad special
and
teams, like let's say special teams may not win you games
well, I
like
mean, it definitely
outward.
can win you games.
Well, I was
It
gonna say
won the
special
Eagles
teams
game.
doesn't normally like outwardly win you games. Like if you just kind of look at a game, you're not like, oh, what about that great punt? But it will most certainly cost you games, as in giving up a punt return to Rashid Shaheed for a touchdown, and that missed field goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Mevis was perfect in his first 7 games with the Rams, was very steady,
As soon as you
and there
saw
were
the
a lot
stat,
of
you just knew he
bad
was going to shank that
there
field
was a
goal.
lot of bad so the Rams entering Thursday had the 2nd lowest field goal percentage as a team. The only team with a worse field goal percentage were the New York Giants, and
Who've had three different
they
kickers.
were especially bad on kicks, like, under 50 yards, like, makeable kicks as well, and a lot of that I thought, that's a tough stat, but a lot of that was Joshua Carty, being slow, kicking the ball, letting a lot of his kicks get blocked. I'm not really I Mevis seemed to really stabilize the position, and I was like, "Okay, well, they kinda found their kicker, they're fine." And then you're watching Thursday, the guy that hasn't missed in 7 games, totally just he didn't shank it, but, like, got so much air under a 40-yard field goal that it slowly just blew wide right and missed it completely, and again, Seahawks woulda had time to go tie it again, but they had time after the missed field goal and went on a pretty quick 3 and out or whatever, so, looked to me like the Rams coulda won that game in regulation had he just made a 40-yard field goal, which is a very not difficult kick to make, conditions or not, and that and the punt return for a touchdown, I mean, that'll do you in, man. That'll kill you, and that is bad enough their special teams is bad enough to cost them in a playoff game, especially with the NFC being as competitive as it is, as so many teams we believe could make a run. These games are going to be close. These games are going to be tight, and it can come down to a missed field goal. It can come down to a blocked field goal. It can come down to a blocked punt. It can come down to a punt return for a touchdown, especially a team like Seattle with a home run hitter back there like Shaheed. It could come down to bad kickoff coverage as we've seen, a big return can set up where you need one play for a field goal to tie a game or win a game potentially. So the Rams, while I would still argue that they are the most complete team in the NFL. I don't think that a loss just throws that out the window. Um, they were without Davante Adams, and again, they weren't having issues scoring points, but maybe it would have been nicer. Some of their drives that maybe stalled would have been touchdowns if they had Adams, because we know how much of a red zone threat he is. And, they had an injury to a right guard, and the backup right guard comes in and immediately is an illegal man downfield on the touchdown pass. So, like, little things also went up against them in this game. We're obviously burying the lead with one of the craziest plays ever, but ultimately, I do think the Rams are still the most complete team, but when you don't have home field and you don't have the first round bye, you are very, very much more prone to losing now that you have to go play potentially all your playoff games on the road and don't get the game off. So a huge, huge loss for the Rams. They need the Seahawks to drop a game somewhere, but it's not looking good for their hopes to get that 1 seed back in a real, real tough loss.
Yeah, well, now like this is in a sicko way. The Eagles now have a better path to the 1 seed now that the Rams dropped that
Is
game.
it like, I'm trying to think how they can do it. The
The Eagles need them
Eagles
to lose one more game. The Eagles have to win out.
yeah, but I think this like, they need more help than that.
Oh, they need a lot of help.
I think San Francisco has to lose, uh, and Chicago needs to lose as well. The Packers also need to go 1-1 because of the tie, so is
If the
Green
Eagles
Bay
would have tied that game against the Chargers, that would have
dude,
greatly
maybe they coulda just
assisted
won
their path to the one seed.
maybe they coulda just won like, they need Seattle to lose twice now. They need the Seahawks to lose out, and, like, that just feels tough. You know what I mean?
I mean,
They gotta
the
lose
two
to
seed is a more
Carolina.
obviously a way more realistic path. If the Eagles take care of business and get some help, they can get the 2 seed.
It would behoove the 49ers to beat the Bears next week too. And listen, it's not impossible, but it's not likely either. They're gonna be slotted in the 2 or 3. But the Seahawks, on the Seahawks side of things, Sam Darnold, you know what? Gotta give him some flowers. While he struggled at points during this game, he made some humongous throws of very high degrees of difficulty in both in regulation and in overtime, where, maybe he needs a lot of help, but that's okay. He did show that he can win a big game. He needed some help from his special teams and defense to kinda keep them in the game. We talk about the big special teams plays, but we don't talk about what? Back-to-back 3 and outs from the Rams offense that allowed the Seahawks defense and special teams to
Yeah,
take
it's
parts of
if
that
you.
game.
I mean, the Seahawks have never won a game down by 15 points in the fourth quarter in their
I mean, it
franchise.
just doesn't happen, man. It really just doesn't happen a lot ever. And Darnold made some huge throws. I gotta give him his props. He really did make some great throws down the stretch in the fourth quarter and in overtime. So, maybe he can win again, especially at home, maybe, where the crowd's on your side. Maybe he can win you a couple playoff games and send you to the Super Bowl, perhaps. Like, that's not
That game
impossible,
did feel like that. Seattle's kind of lost that home field advantage over the last couple years.
for
It
sure.
kind of felt like
Well, it helped that you went against the team with no
you
fans.
know.
Like, that was what it was.
Well, I was gonna say like
Was it not?
I would
If
say
that
in
was
the
the
fourth. I would
Niners,
say in
what
the
would that
fourth.
look
I don't
like?
know. I feel like in the fourth quarter, the Rams definitely looked rattled.
I mean, the Seahawks play the Niners, that's in San Francisco, but if that was a Niner game, I mean, it'd be very red in that stadium, but,
You know what? And funny enough, like when we talk about Stafford and Darnold, clearly Stafford played a much better game
yeah,
than Darnold. But it's kind of how, dude. I look at the Eagle loss with the Rams, and then this loss where Stafford didn't play all that great against the Eagles. He completed less than 50% of his
no,
throws.
he threw that interception, he didn't look healthy either, he kinda got hit hard in that game, was missing a lot of throws that he usually doesn't miss in that Eagles game for sure, but this is definitely I think a harder. It's so difficult because, yes, you didn't play as well throughout, I think, against the Eagles, but it took 2 blocked field goals to lose the game. Whereas this game, you played really, really well, and it took the flukiest two-point conversion you've ever seen to
Yes,
lose
that
this
was one
game.
thing I wanted to
So
talk about. So when that play happened, Michael, I thought I thought it was a fumble because it was a
a
backwards.
lateral. A
I'm sorry,
backwards
it was a
pass.
lateral. I thought it was a lateral. The
The that
problem
that
was
that
the refs
language is very
a
important
la
with
sorry
this
sorry, it was
ruling.
a lateral,
Backwards pass,
but
yeah.
they blew it dead as if it was a pass. So, while Seattle
Well,
recovered it, should it have should I mean, that's what I thought was bizarre, was it should they
now
have been
hold
allowed
on.
to advance it?
Now hold on. Now hold on. Do we not remember in the double doink game? You know what? I'm gonna share my screen. Do we not remember? Okay. Yeah, whatever. This play in the double doink game. Trubisky, Anthony Miller caught, balls out. No one picks up the look, catch, 1, 2, 3, awkward 4, balls out, never down, but you saw the ref coming in incomplete. No one picks it up. Ref picks it up. Ref picks it up. What happened? The ball was placed to the Chicago Bears at the spot of where the ball came out. No one forgets, no one remembers that. But that was a huge play in the game. It was an awesome play by Cravon LeBlanc that went for naught because no one picked up the ball and everyone just thought it was an incomplete pass. Now, fast forward 7 years, and here we are, and it's the same sort of situation where a ball was ruled incomplete, but it should have been ruled a loose ball, a backwards lateral. We got a clear recovery. That I'm sorry, I know that everyone hates that and gets uncomfortable by it or whatever, but it's a play that happens, what, once every 7 years or so, and I think it's one of those quirks that is fine. Like, people wanna slam the refs for it, but you can't slam the refs for getting a
Well,
call
Puka
correct.
did.
Right, you can't slam the refs for getting a call correct when, you know, when it just goes against your way or it doesn't feel right, you know what I mean? So
Well, keep in mind, these Seahawks needed, 3 two-point conversions to win this game.
to win this game, exactly, and that is just, like, it's a weird rule quirk, and we see guys pick up fumbles, not fumbles, we see guys pick up loose balls all the time. How many times do we see a pass get batted down, and you see some D lineman running over and scooping up the ball, and they're like, "Phew, whistle, whistle, whistle. No, no, no,
Well,
it's
because they're
incomplete, it's
practiced,
incomplete."
they're taught to do that, so just in
Well, and
case.
there you
But
go,
Bill,
this was the
I
time to
agree,
do it.
Michael. You know what? I agree.
And Zach Charbonnet casually picks it up, and there you go, 2 point successful. So I'm honestly a fan of it. I am a fan of it because I think little quirks like that are cool. It's very baseball of football to have little weird shit like this go down, and I think it's kind of fun to have some whimsy in your sport like that. And I think everyone that's crying and getting upset about it, maybe Ram should have picked up the ball. The guy dropped the ball out off the tip, and they just thought it was a dropped in. And I know the whistle blew, but I just read a tweet from Terry McCauley almost 3 years ago now, where he said the whistle in football, both collegiate and professionally, is like irrelevant to the end of the play. The end of the play is the end of the play. It's when the knee is down, it's when the foot's out of bounds, it's when the ball crosses the plane, it's when forward progress is stopped. That is when the play is over. The whistle is just the way to make it known that the play is over, but when plays are continued on in a natural way, and while it didn't look supernatural, Charbonnet, the whistle blew and he just kept walking over to the ball and picked it up. He didn't, like, pop his helmet off and then was like, "Oh, here you go, official, here's the ball," or was jogging off the field and turned around and was like, "You know what, let me just go pick that up." He went and picked it up, so we have rules all the time for, "Oh, the play's blown dead, but we have a clear recovery." Like, that exists, you know what I mean? Like, we have seen that where it's a catch over the middle and the ball gets popped out and they're saying, "No, no, it's incomplete." But we have a clear recovery from the defense and they look back like, "You know what? That was a fumble. We got it wrong. First down the other way." So what difference does it make? It's the same sort of principle just because the players thought it was I don't know. I think people were getting all
Their
up in
knickers
arms
in a
for
twist.
something. They were for a little kind of fun little quirk, and they had a lot of other opportunities to win this game anyways, so I don't feel any sympathy about it. Um, yeah, yeah, that's my stance on it. Seahawks played a great come from behind game, and shout out them. The trade they make for Rashid Shaheed doesn't do much on offense, but he had the 2 biggest plays of the game of the punt return touchdown, and he had an end around that went for, like, 40 yards that helped set them up,
Yes.
to tie the game eventually, so
Yeah, I would say this,
making an
Ken. I
impact.
think I think Clint Kubiak should stay another year with the Seahawks, maybe like Ben Johnson, to get the better job, because at first I was thinking, like, man, if Darnold goes down, like, Kubiak's chances of being a head coach like diminish, right? I think to a certain extent. Like,
Mhm,
in other words, he's going to get asked by teams, what the hell happened with Sam Darnold? And that puts him in an awkward spot, because he could be like, Darnold blows, I'm good, he sucks. Like, then the team's gonna be like, well, geez, he's gonna probably say that about me as the GM behind my back. You know what I
mhm.
mean? Like, what do you
No,
do?
I
You know
hear
what I
you.
mean? You
It's
know?
it's tough. It's an interesting it'll be very, very interesting to see, what goes on with those teams, but Seahawks control their own destiny, in a huge spot, and we have a couple teams playing today that are in contention for a top seed as well in the NFC, and we have some big games tomorrow. Why don't we start with the Eagles game? Because they are
The
the
Eagles
first
are
team.
playing for the division today. If they win the division. They could
So let's
snap
start.
the 20-year curse.
Yeah, yeah. Um, you know, what's gotten in the way of that before has been some pretty big collapses, and they started down that path, but the schedule lightened up a little bit just at the right time for them to kind of lock in, and the Cowboys were also doing them favors, losing winnable games. The Philadelphia Eagles head down to Washington to take on the Commanders. No Jaden Daniels in this game, no Laramie Tunsil in this game. Also, um, the Eagles are laying 7 on the road. It's we took away what we took away from the Raider game. The big talking point is, oh, the Raiders just suck, and that's true. But then I look at the Commanders, and I'm like, well, the Commanders kind of suck too. You know what I mean? Like their defense is pretty bad. Um,
They what the Giants engineered a process loss last week.
yeah, no, the Commanders defense is very bad, and they should continue to just keep building off what they do playing against these poor defenses to end the season. Even Buffalo's, their run defense is horrible. So 4 straight bad run defenses to finish the season, it would behoove them to, and even the Chargers defense, and they ran the ball well against them. So it would behoove them for the last 5 weeks of the season to continue growing that run game and working on your passing game the way that you have been, with a little more under center play action, a little more over the middle like you've been doing, and just kind of straightening the ship with an offense where make the only weakness be, well, the offensive line isn't as good anymore. Make the only weakness the offensive line's banged up. Obviously, that sucks and can definitely sink you, but it's a lot more acceptable than what in God's name are these concepts? What the hell are we doing? And like, the quarterback not playing well. Those things you can't escape those things, you know what I mean? But you can maybe escape an offensive line not being up to snuff if the other things are better, and they gotta
I
continue
saw a
that today.
stat. So I saw a stat with Jalen since he became the Eagles starting quarterback. December is like not his best month, because he's either been injured, played with an injury, or struggled. Like the 2023 collapse, his numbers took a bit of a nosedive with the turnovers.
Mhm. I feel like
The
he barely plays, in
you
September
know,
or December,
and
excuse me.
obviously this time last year, what happened? He gets knocked out of that game against the Commanders, and I think he's got. I think obviously the Eagles exacted revenge of the Commanders in the NFC Championship game. Broke records, NFL and team records that game. listen, man, you got to go here and take care of business. The key for the Eagles, especially in the spot they are in now, they need to build forward momentum heading into the playoffs. And you can start that by winning this game. Just win this game, take care of business. The Eagles are confident that they can win this game because Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson, again, third week in a row, have been ruled out.
Yeah, no, they are definitely being very cautious with those guys, and they should. I mean, respectfully, like it's always nice. I listen to the Stay Hot podcast with my good enjoyed content creators of Theo Ash, Bladen Kirk, and Matthew Sponhour. And what's interesting hearing their thoughts when they talk about the Eagles is like we got to put this when you look at it from an overhead and you see Landon Dickerson is obviously very hurt and banged up and not playing up to his standard. Lane Johnson is out. Jalen Carter is out and has been hurt kind of all year. And it's like full stop. Those are 3 of your, like, top
Best
10
players.
players on the team, maybe top 5 players on the team, at least, like, Carter and Lane are, like, 2 of your top 5 players on the team. When you take 3 of your top 10 players on the team, no matter how good the team is, it's gonna be some growing pains, it's gonna be some gelling pains, I think we're getting the full I think everyone's like, "Okay, Fred Johnson isn't some hidden gem great tackle." He's a swing tackle, he is what he is, and when you play a swing tackle multiple weeks in a row, you see him not play as good as he does if he's only gotta play 1 and 2 games and then be done? So, um, you're seeing that, you're seeing the whole offensive line kind of flounder with Dickerson not being a total force, and luckily, the defense is just so good that with Jalen Carter's absence, they're still playing well and should really get even better once he does come back. So, that being said, not to totally fluff out the excuse train, but it does there is something there, and the way they've been playing, I feel like they're moving in the right direction, and hopefully they continue to build on it. Because again, the Rams, I'm sure, as much as I maybe don't want to see the Rams, I'm sure as hell certain they do not want to come here. They can preach how they want to get their revenge and come here and whatever. They do not want to play a playoff game in Philadelphia again, even though they felt they had it, whatever. I think they have to think the Eagles have some sort of
Well,
devil
you have to
magic over
question
them.
the mental toughness of the Rams because to your point, Michael, like, dude, how many teams in NFL history have blown two 15 plus point leads in the same season? Like you saw that
Yeah,
stat.
man, it's crazy. It's really crazy stuff. And um, so yeah, the Eagles they can win the division today. It would be nice to win the division today, and enjoy the rest of this weekend. So the Commanders are banged up. They're also terrible. The Eagles banged up, but not terrible. I'm going to take them to cover the 7. I do. I have a nice vision of Saquon having a nice big running day, and the receivers playing well as they always tend to do against Washington. Goddard maybe gets his 10th touchdown of the season today. All these sort of things. I think I really am anticipating a comfortable win. Maybe not 31 nothing, let up less than 100 total yards win, but comfortable nonetheless. So give me the Eagles -7.
So my concern for this game is I don't think the Commanders are actively trying to tank, even though they should, because their biggest weakness is they have no pass rush, and there is like four pass rushers that will go in like the first 7, 8 picks. And if you're Washington, you would like to put yourself in a spot to get one of them and not have to trade up or, you know, overdraft one to
Mhm.
compensate. Marcus Mariota this year, so QBR 51.9. I'm going to pull up Jaden Daniels here. Jaden Daniels, who's obviously been banged up like all season.
Yeah, I mean, they're shutting them down.
45.6. I feel like with Mariota,
Go
they have
ahead, pick Washington, go ahead. You want to. You're if you didn't want to, you wouldn't be this hesitant. Go ahead. The Eagles
I'm
are
actually
gonna
going to take the Eagles. I'm going to tell you.
Oh.
I'm going to tell you why. I feel like Mariota is certainly due to have one of those games where you're like, this is why he. I wouldn't say he's a bust because bust would imply that he just could never play. Kind of just implies why he could never was like a good.
He flamed out. Like, he was a fine starter that flamed out into a very, very solid backup.
I see everyone's
Him
taking
and
the
Jameis.
under in this game though, which I find intriguing. Just
Yeah, looks like it.
like the weather wise today, it's not going to be bad. Like if yesterday's weather was today, then yes, hammer the under because we had gale force winds.
It's gonna be cold, but it's not gonna be as, miserable. You know what I mean? It's
I agree.
actually I'm looking, it's actually decently split, the over under, on some other forums as well, so, um, alright. Bill taking the Eagles takes us to Saturday night. Should be a great game. Uh, Vegas is or the public is clearly
They
divide of
the
opinion.
same thing that happened with the Rams Seahawks game happened in this game.
Yeah, and honestly, even more drastic here. So the Bears are 1.5 point favorites at home to take on the Packers. Spread bets are 50-50. Money line bets are 51-49 in very slight favor of the
There's a
Chicago
lot of
Bears.
juice money riding on this game.
It's tough, man. This is a tough one for sure because you look at it and the Packers are without Micah Parsons, and it's hard to argue
Well, they have no pass rush without Micah Parsons.
that their defense is anything without him. And they already have issues stopping the run. With Parsons, they still had some issues stopping the run. They traded Kenny Clark. Like, we laughed, we joked, whatever, but Kenny Clark's still capable run defender, and
Which would have been very
with
useful in this game.
his absence, it hurt them in the run game while, obviously Parsons was pretty much their whole defense. Um, so they do kind of get run on pretty frequently, pretty effectively, and now you take away their pass rush. I mean, the whole reason they lost to the Broncos is because Micah Parsons went down, and Bo Nix had a lot of time to make some nice throws and deliver, touchdowns. So that all being said, I just don't think the Packers defense is gonna be in a good enough situation to win here on the road. And while I do think we know how well Jordan Love plays, we know how good he is in December and LaFleur is in December, I just think the defense is gonna kinda sink them. Christian Watson's a little banged up as well. Their offensive line is very banged up as well in Green Bay. I just think the injuries are piling up. Now, the Bears do have some key injuries today. Both Rome Odunze and Luther Burden are out, but I think what they wanna do is pound the rock and throw to their tight ends and, obviously DJ Moore in there as well. Zaccheaus has been a huge addition for them. I think that the injuries to the Packers offensive line and Micah Parsons is gonna be too much, and we're gonna get a taste of how they're gonna kinda potentially miss the playoffs, but how they would lose in the playoffs this year, unfortunately. So, give me Chicago -1.5 at home.
Obviously, this is the biggest game the Chicago Bears have probably played in
The double doink.
since the double doink game. Man, that's a long time. I mean, listen, dude.
They did make a playoff game after that. We forget. Do you remember? Do you remember the playoff game? 2020 at New Orleans.
Oh,
They were the 7 seed,
oh
and they
boy.
lost, or they might have been but they lost to Drew Brees.
So let me ask you. So let me run this by you though.
Game was on Nickelodeon.
Don't you feel like there's so much on the line for Green Bay though, where Lafleur's job has been called into question?
I think his job is safe with the injuries, to be honest with you. I think it would
I
be effed
agree.
up to dump him after this year when you look at the
I
offensive
mean, it's
line
not a
that has
good,
been
dude.
ruined.
It's never a good look when people talk about you getting fired nationally. Like let's take the whole fan thing out of the equation, right? Like,
No, and it was valid, but I think they really stabled out and they started playing really, really good. And, like, they have 10 questionable guys on the injury report. Josh Jacobs questionable with a knee and an ankle. Christian Watson questionable with a chest injury. Zach Tom questionable with a back and knee. Evan Williams questionable with a knee. Dontavian Wicks questionable with an ankle. Chris Brooks running back questionable with the chest. Darian Kennard questionable with a neck. Like,
these two teams did beat the snot out of each other the last time they played. They're both banged
mhm.
up. I'm going to go with the Bears as well because, dude, like Ben Johnson, I mean, obviously he's the odds-on favorite to be coach of the year, obviously. But to me, man, I feel like this could be like Caleb coming out like as a wow, what if Caleb Williams is like God, a top 5 quarterback? Like what if he has a monster game, Michael? And I
top 5
mean,
might be a little aggressive now,
I mean he's
but
top 10, right?
he's mm, he's probably, like,
Would you rather
playing.
take him
He's
over
probably
him
knocking
than
on the
Jaden
door.
Daniels right now? People are yapping about Jaden Daniels being a top 5 quarterback last year. Why can't
Well, I
Caleb
mean,
Williams this year?
those people are dumb. So I think, listen, Caleb's having a nice year. I think he's got some other levels to hit. The down to down accuracy issues, I think, hold you back from those conversations a little bit. But this could be a very
Yeah, but isn't
signature
he in a
win.
prime position to cook this Packer team with all these injuries they have?
This could be, but I mean, you're missing two of your top receivers. You know what I mean? Like,
Colston Loveland's been, when he's gonna get featured a lot. Like
I mean,
I don't
if
think
you
DJ
take
Moore's gonna
AJ
get 15
Brown,
targets today.
no, but if you're like, all right, the Eagles are down AJ Brown, and like it would be the equivalent of like having Goddard out too, and it's just like Devontae Smith running around. It's like, well, good luck, Jalen.
Well, we saw what Devontae Smith did when AJ was out and Smitty had his best game of the year. So
Yeah. But anyways, so we're both taking the Bears. Let's get to Sunday. We gotta get through some slop for a little bit. Today
yes.
should be great. I'm very excited today. We got 3 college football games. We got the 2 NFL games. Should be wonderful. Flyers. Bills Browns though. The Sixers also play tonight, which is crazy. Bills Browns though in Cleveland. Bills are big 10.5 point favorites.
This feels
Myles
like
Garrett could
honestly,
break the sack
bro,
record
this
today.
this feels like I feel like the Bills are gonna be prone to a letdown. Huge comebacks. I know this year the Bills had a huge comeback, and then they covered the following week. I kind of have a feeling in this game, like the Browns are kind of built to give the Bills offense some fits.
And defense, really.
Did I
Well,
say
the
offense?
offensive line,
I mean, I meant to say
and
that the Browns defense and like Quinshon Judkins has been kind of quiet the last couple weeks.
I mean, the Browns' offensive line is very putrid, but they do have a good running back that could maybe
Like give them
we'll
problems.
we'll we'll see the limit of how bad this Bills run defense actually is, because the Patriots running offense is not good,
Like
but
I'm thinking like 7 I'm thinking something along the lines of like 20 12 like 20 to 12 Bills.
I think this is closer than, the spread indicates. I think, like, I am gonna still take Buffalo minus the 10.5, but I think it's more like a 23-10 as opposed to, like, 35-7. You know what I
I
mean? Like,
agree.
I think it's a
I'm
little
taking the
tighter. So
Browns
I'm
to
gonna take
cover.
Buffalo. Okay. I mean, we're in the same headspace for it. I'm just gonna give the extra field goal to Buffalo as opposed to Cleveland. But it's we're there. Um, Next game, ugh, 2 non-playoff teams, who cares, you know? Kidding. Not really. The Jets play the Saints, in New Orleans. Tyler Shuck, shout out Tyler Shuck,
Oh
man, just
no.
playing spoiler in the NFC South the last couple weeks, bailing out the Panthers, thinking they got it on a silver platter, and then just snatching it right from their jaws and putting Tampa right back in the division race. Um, playing solid football, man. He, like, just plays solid throughout 3 quarters and then turns it on a little bit in the 4th to orchestrate a big drive. Last week, getting banged early with a late slide, kinda shady, but, goes your way and you win a game. Um, Listen, if you're the Saints, you gotta give him the starting job next year. You can't take it
Yeah,
from
the
him,
Saints have
so
definitely played themselves out of getting Mendoza realistically, but I think they're
I
okay
mean, they're
with that.
still 4-10, like, they're not that far off, you know what I
Well, look at
mean?
the
Like,
Jets, dude. The Jets. I
well,
mean,
if they lose to the Jets now, all of a sudden, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? You know? I
I
am
mean,
gonna
I
take
mean.
New
So here's the.
Orleans,
I
but
mean, here's the thing, though. The Jets. I mean, right now, I do think the Raiders will wind up with the first overall pick. I truly believe that, and they will take Mendoza. Like that feels like a considerable lock. Like I don't think they would trade out of the pick to get more picks. They will. They need a quarterback
right,
after
right, right.
after the Kenny Pickett slop fest last week. That was pretty much a. That was
Yeah,
literally like they need a quarterback.
right,
With that
regardless.
being said, when you look at the
Case with the
Jets,
Raiders.
they fired. Dude, do you think Aaron Glenn is like trying too hard to be like a Bill Parcells slash Belichick, where it's like no mercy, like anyone that screws up is gone? Because they fired Steve Wilkes after last week when they got blown out.
I don't think he's trying anything. I think it's more just like eh, I think he feels he wants to just inject maybe some youth into the coaching staff a little bit. I don't know. Like I think we'd be making too much of a thesis on what Aaron Glenn is because the Jets suck. Like they're just bad. They traded all their good players away. What do
Their best
what are
offensive
they
player, their best offensive players on injured reserve.
Yeah, and it's like, what are they to do? I think they have a decent little infrastructure going on. I think the
I
offensive
mean, do you
line
think now?
isn't that bad.
Do you think Kellen Moore, if they go like if they win this game, 3-game win streak near the end of the season, like, do you think like maybe Kellen Moore is the answer potentially in New Orleans? Like, I don't know.
Listen, if you're the Saints, I think you need to I think in a macro sense, you gotta just stop doing things. Stop signing contracts and void yearing money and putting yourself in, like, future cap hell or whatever. Just let it all come to a head. Let it all come to a head and just clear up everything possible. Just keep Shuck, keep drafting well, and let all the money that you have tied in just kinda go. Let it all burn out and restart because you can Mickey Loomis 3 in cap hell, and I think it would behoove them to just try to push their way through it instead of trying to rework everything and make it all work. I think it'd be better for them to just kinda relax for a minute.
I
All that
agree.
being said, the
I'm taking
Saints are
it.
6.5-point favorites. I'm taking New Orleans minus 6.5.
Who's going to be the Jets starting quarterback tomorrow?
It's a good question. Don't know the answer to that.
Is it going to be Whoa. Brady Cook is QB1 despite the fact that Justin Fields is healthy and Tyrod Taylor should be able to play.
I mean, I
I'm
think
taking the
Fields has
Saints
been
are clearly
healthy.
trying to tank. That's a tanking move, in my opinion.
Yeah. Next game we
We
have
need to see what
Vikings
they
Giants. Another slop. Uh, JJ McCarthy coming off his best game of the year against the Dallas Cowboys, another NFC East opponent this week. Um, Vikings are 2.5-point favorites on the road against the Giants. I thought the Giants were going to win a game they had no business winning against Washington, and then they just looked absolutely atrocious. Oh, their defensive they need another D tackle. Like, they have nice pass rushers, and Dexter Lawrence is very good, but they need someone that can take advantage of the fact like, you can run the ball very
What do you mean,
easily on
like
the
Peter
Giants.
Woods?
Just anything. You can run the ball, you can double team Dexter Lawrence into oblivion, and the edge rushers, you know, they're not like supreme run defenders, and you can just have a lot of success running the football against them. I think if they need to go find their Moro Ijomo in the draft, their Milton Williams in the draft, someone that looks incredible next to a great player and turns into a good player because of it, because they're getting these favorable matchups and reps and stuff, as opposed to, you know, just some schlub that can easily get one-on-one into hell. But again, we're talking a lot about two teams that just don't matter. I'm gonna take the Vikings, I guess, -2.5. I think that could be really stupid, I don't know, but this
I'm
game is
taking
so
the
meaningless.
Giants because I've been reading that Abdul Carter, despite I mean, listen, Abdul Carter is having a incredibly rough start to his rookie career. Michael, the is there a perfect quarterback for him to sack repeatedly, maybe a forced fumble, than like nine?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how is nine done responding to these like big moments for him? He follows it up with a dud.
Sure, now I hear you. Yeah.
So you're gonna lay points on the road with nine, is what you're wanting to do.
I'm not putting actual US dollars on this, that's for sure.
All
But
right, let's see what it counts. Just answer my question. All right.
for the sake of this, yeah, I'm just gonna assume the Giants keep executing the tank properly. Um, this.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. The Buccaneers and Panthers. It does sound funny to be excited for that slop for the last, like, 20 years, but, um, here we are, man. We've reached it. The Panthers, it sucks. The Panthers, if they so like the Eagles Commanders, these 2 teams play each other today, or excuse me, tomorrow and week 18. They play each other twice in the final 3 games. If they split in those games 1 and 1, then the difference comes down to that middle game, which the middle game, unfortunately, is extremely more favorable for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than it is for the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers play the Seahawks, yeesh, and the Buccaneers play the Dolphins. So
Yeah,
it would it would behoove the Panthers to win this first game and put the heat on Tampa, um,
I
to have
agree.
to win out, as opposed to, you choke this game up and now you're like, "Shit, now we have to beat Seattle, and then we have to beat Tampa again." Where if you win on Sunday, you're looking at like, "Listen, we're gonna shoot our load early in the Seahawks game, and if we
Whoa,
don't
easy there,
we
Puka.
don't and if we don't, like, make any inroads early in the first half, I'm just gonna kinda tank this one out." Like, if the Seahawks are blowing us out in the first half, whatever. I'm not taking out starters or whatever, but I'm like, "Okay, I don't care. All that matters is I need to
Here's
beat
the
Tampa
thing, though,
again."
Michael. When the Panthers are at home as underdogs, they win. They win games, and
Dude, I'm
like
taking the Panthers.
I'm taking the Panthers. I've
They
got
need
absolutely no faith.
tomorrow more.
Do you now? Let me run this by you.
I mean, we can't have a ton of faith in the Panthers.
The
+3,
Panthers have got
sure, but
way more juice going their way than the Buccaneers do. The Buccaneers feel like the Timu 2023 Eagles in terms of a collapse.
it's just not even close to the same thing.
What do you
Like, they were
mean?
what, 5-1 and they collapsed? And that's a collapse, but it's barely a collapse. It took, like, 3 months. You
Everyone
just
was
played m
yapping about Baker for 3 months
Listen, John, you don't have to
straight.
tell me. Those people love what Baker is. That's what it is. They love the kinda guy that Baker is, and they view themselves as, like, relatable and can picture themselves hanging out with Baker Mayfield, so they love him like that. And the fact of the matter is that over the last 3 years, under a bad coach and mid-quarterback play, they've beaten up on what is the worst division in football in the NFC South. And, yeah, congrats on the division titles, man. Who are you beating? You
That's a
play
good
the
point.
worst division ever, and now finally one of the teams in the division doesn't totally suck, and you're about to choke this shit away? I don't wanna hear it. Like, it's always been this way, you just haven't played any competition, and now you have some. They might go out and beat the Panthers tomorrow because the Panthers still really are just not that good, where Tampa at least has some more definitely has more talent. Um,
Battle of Heisman Trophy winners.
but my rage, my hatred, I guess, towards the Buccaneers and the quarterback, I'm gonna will my way. I'm taking Carolina +3 with you.
This is what. So the Buccaneers just have no pass rush, and one thing no one talks about when it comes to the Panthers is how well their offensive line has been all season for them. Like Michael, you see some of those like Bryce Young like scramble drills that he runs. He's got
Mhm.
all day to find Tet downfield or Jalen Coker.
Sure.
I'm taking the Panthers. Listen, I'm not surprised they lost last week, and entirely honest, look ahead, that was the trap game. Think about it. The Carolina Panthers, Michael, are finally we're in a trap game last week where they were the team that was going to get trapped. They're not the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah. It hasn't been that way since Cam, that's for sure.
You know, how wild is that? Anyway, let's move
Yeah.
on. Wow, look at this breakdown.
Look at this
Oh, how
scorcher.
the mighty have fallen.
The Kansas City Chiefs, led by Gardner Minshew, are only 3-point favorites on the road against the Tennessee Titans. What everyone thought was gonna be, "Oh, here's a layup before Christmas." Now it literally doesn't even matter. Why even talk about this game, John? It's 2 non-playoff teams. Who cares? Isn't that crazy? The Chiefs should they still like, I don't know what this is gonna be. Is this gonna be like the game where Minshew can look good in a game. We know that. We know he can play well. Is this gonna be one of those? Is Andy Reid really gonna be cooking up a master class, or is this just like a, "You know what? Just get me the hell through this season. This is the season from hell. Just get out of here." I don't know. And is this a spot where the Titans can steal a win and kinda choke up their great draft position? Like, is Spags gonna be coaching his ass off
I
against
mean, they
Cam
kind
W
of did a couple weeks ago.
like, they did, and it's like they could do it a hell of a lot worse, you know what I mean? Like, is Spags gonna be dialing up all these crazy blitzes on Cam Ward? I'm not saying he should be like, "Oh, I like Cam Ward." I don't, you know what I mean? But hard to say for
I
sure.
mean,
I don't really know.
realistically, like
Like, the
for
Chiefs
the
aren't that good.
Titans, I mean, right
The
now,
big advantage every week is
Foles, like
Mahomes.
you need Cam Ward to play well because he is the future of your franchise.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, he is at home, and the Titans are 6-8 against the spread, despite them just being like putrid. Um, the Chiefs are 5-9 against the spread, and they're laying 3 points in this game. I'm gonna tentatively go with the Chiefs, and I'm gonna give you my logic. Every year with Gardner Minshew, he plays one game where he cons you into thinking, he'd be like a good bridge quarterback if we draft somebody and then start him for like 5 weeks. And this is kind
Here
of the opponent to do it against, isn't it? I mean, you look at the Chiefs' remaining schedule. I think they have to play
they play
Chiefs.
Denver and the Raiders.
Yeah. Oh shoot. You
Is
know
the
what?
Raider game
I
it?
think
You
the
know what I
Raider
mean?
game's the con game.
I'm gonna take the
You want to take the Titans? I
Titans.
could tell you. I could tell
I'm
you.
gonna take the Titans +3.
Wow.
Eesh. Not putting currency on this one either. Alright, we're split there. Chargers, Cowboys. This you talk about an interesting game right here. This is the
Michael, if the
definition.
Eagles win the division today, the Cowboys will win this game 100%.
That's what I'm thinking too, man. They're favored. Dallas is 1.5 point favorites. Now,
They
there's
should. The
this
Chargers have been
crazy
sneaking these
there's this
wins.
crazy little quirk that happens this time of year, maybe once a year. It's very rare that these sort of things happen where I'll set the scene. You have 2 teams playing against each other. You have one team with a winning percentage of 700 or higher, right? The Los Angeles Chargers. They are on the road taking on a team that is 500 or worse, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, where this weird quirk comes in is that under 500 team at home is favored, like today, or yeah, like today. The Cowboys are 1.5 point favorites, despite being 6-7-1 versus the Chargers, who are sitting at 11 and at 10-4. We have a double-digit win Charger team that is underdogs against the team that's under 500. Now, this happens twice this week. We'll talk about the other game in a little bit. When these sort of things happen, the last like 6 times, I think, the favored worst team record-wise has won outright. Just what it's been. And I think I'm gonna ride with that. And I agree with you. It does feel like the Cowboys put together a win. Feels like the Chargers are also just due to lose. They've been playing and getting by the skin of their teeth for a little while now, and this to me, I'll be honest, this does feel like a high scoring game. I think the Cowboys defense is the right recipe for the Chargers offense to get back on track a little bit. But I think the Cowboys offense in a meaningless game is gonna start cooking. So give me the Cowboys minus 1.5 against the Chargers.
You're not hearing much about Justin Herbert's broken hand. I'm guessing that it's healing properly,
Yeah, I
despite,
guess.
here's the thing though, is that, listen, Herbert's had 2 big wins in his career the last 2 weeks. Say what you want about Kansas City. Man, even like to me, this is a spot where this looks like a down spot for this Charger team. And listen, you coined a term about it, charger it up. You've coined a term about it.
The
Like
the relegating of the Chargers.
you coined a
The
term.
Chargers can I will say Chargers can clinch a playoff spot today, tomorrow.
And like,
They can clinch.
you feel like Pickens has either rubbed some people the wrong way in Dallas, where now he's just not, he's being intentionally like, do you think maybe, especially with Dak, because
No, I'm
because
gonna
he
stop
got
you
away
there.
with talking down to like the bad quarterbacks in Pittsburgh because they were just bad.
I mean, we
Dak
haven't heard
Prescott's a top
anything
10
though.
quarterback in the NFL.
We
Like,
haven't heard anything though. We're just seeing some poor body language on the field. We haven't heard like
well,
the
he said things like, oh,
reports.
the offense made a lot of mistakes and yada yada yada. Like,
I
you know,
mean, I
he
don't know.
never
This
takes
is
accountability for him playing bad.
no, sure. I will say what I guess should be a little more hesitant for us with the Chargers is they can clinch today. They have very difficult games to end the season. They play next week at home against the Texans, and then week
Yikes!
18 they're in Denver to play the Broncos.
Yikes!
Those are 2 tough games, man. Those are
So you think, so
2
what you're saying is they need, if they just win this game, you don't have to sweat to
they
Justin
they
Herbert's running
clinch
for his life games.
they clinch with a win and a Colts loss today. Or excuse me, the Colts play Monday, against the Niners. That's how they
Week
clinch.
like listen, the Broncos may not rest their starters week 18, Michael. They
They
could
might
be.
they might not they might have to play their starters, you're right. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's kinda do or die for the Chargers almost, but at the same time, we laid it out. It does feel like a game the Cowboys play well, and the Chargers are kinda just due for a letdown. Is this a game they kinda take their foot off the gas on the road? Like, it's a tough spot. It really is a tough spot. I'm gonna stick
Dude.
with Dallas, but the Chargers,
Oh, and
it's definitely
by the
desperate.
way, I looked to see who the Texans play this week, and
Yeah, no, I know, man, I know. I know. So, yeah, it's a tough one. Are you taking Dallas still? I'm taking them still.
I'm taking Dallas still.
Yeah. Next game, Bengals Dolphins. Tua has been benched. Lol. Um,
Deserved.
sure. Yeah, he's horrible. He probably could have been benched years ago. But anyways, uh, Quinn Ewers getting the start for the Dolphins. The Bengals, everything seems to be
What's going
going
on with Joe
poorly.
Burrow, Michael?
He seems a little depressed. Simple as that. This does feel like a classic get right spot. You know what I mean? Good in Miami. What's the weather in Miami? Show me
Oh, like
nice weather down there. Show me uh 77, partly sunny. Come on, doesn't get much better than that.
doesn't
They've been
this
playing
kind?
in
Yeah,
slop weather for
doesn't
weeks.
this kind of feel like wow? Look at the weapons on Cincinnati game. It kind of
Well,
does
I
feel
mean, I
like
don't even think T
that.
Higgins is playing, but
By the way, did you
um
see? By the way, do you think what happened to Minka Fitzpatrick? Did he get when DK Metcalf was he the guy that got like literally
I have no idea. I have no idea.
steamrolled?
Yeah, I have no idea. But this is like this is your Bengals, let's have fun game, you know? I'm taking Cincinnati minus 4.5 on the
I
road
do
here.
agree. This definitely. And listen, we know the Bengals defense is putrid. When they do play like the worst quarterbacks of like ever, like they kind of low key rise to the occasion. It's when they have to play competent quarterbacks is when they struggle
Mhm.
mightily.
Yep.
Okay, next game.
Alright, next game we have you're taking the Bengals as well?
I am.
Okay. Uh, this new phone update, man, it doesn't register my clicks. It's very frustrating.
Mm.
Falcons, Cardinals. Atlanta 3-point favorites on the road to take on the
I like the
Cardinals.
Cardinals.
I also like the Cardinals. It feels like everyone's getting a little too excited about Kirk and what
Zombo
he
Kirk.
has been able to do. Not that the Cardinals are a great defense. Maybe they're dead. Maybe they quit on Gannon. Maybe they're just going to be miserable. But this
This
feels
would
like
be the this is the litmus test if they quit on Gannon because if they get blown out at
yeah,
home by Zombie Kirk and the Falcons, who they themselves are pretty much like dead in a certain extent. I I
no, for
would
sure.
I would I would
This is a
agree.
matchup of who's going to quit more. Two teams that seem to be kind of dead. But yeah, we're both taking the Cardinals here. This game has the makings of like the 4 o'clock game. No one is going to pay attention. No one wants to watch, but is going to be like high scoring craziness.
Yes.
Next, we have another 4 or 5 game. Huge game. Huge, 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 huge game. Jacksonville Jaguars on the road to take on the Denver Broncos. Not only is this huge because the Broncos can I don't think they can clinch the 1 seed with a win, but they would do themselves a humongous favor by getting a win. Whereas the other side of this coin is the Jags with a win could it won't again, no, they can clinch a playoff spot absolutely with a win and a Colts loss, but can really start making things hairy uh to potentially get a top 2 seed in the AFC. They gotta obviously gotta stave off the Texans, but there is a chance here that if they come up with a huge upset win in Denver, potentially could, maybe even steal the 1 seed. How crazy that would be, but they're definitely they're on a high, they're playing really, really well. This is a really difficult matchup, difficult spot for Jacksonville. But I'm gonna trust it, man. I'm gonna take the Jags. The Broncos are coming off a huge win. I know it was at a conference, but that felt like a statement win. And the Jags have been playing some soft competition. I think they've been gearing up for this game in particular. I think Liam Cohen's gonna be ready. I'm gonna take the Jags plus 3.5 here on the road.
I'm going to take the Jaguars as well. Teams that have 11 game win streaks like the Broncos are riding at the moment really struggle to win that 12th game. They faced against the spread. They are
Mhm.
laying 3.5 points. So if they do win, it's going to be most likely very close.
Yeah.
Here's the thing,
Yeah.
though. Trevor Lawrence is coming off the greatest game of his career, maybe the best game a quarterback has played all season against the Jets. 6 total
Mhm.
touchdowns, 5 in the air, 1 on the ground. Michael, doesn't it kind of feel like what we've seen out of T-Law, like he's kind of due to have a stinker, and like that's how Denver wins?
There's a part of me that is
Like
worried.
pick six to Pat Sertan, excuse me, or like
Was
Nick
he
Bonito
playing?
forces a fumble, it gets picked up and ran back for a touchdown, or like I don't know, man, because like the problem with the Jags offense to me is like they're really dependent on Travis Etienne. Like, and if Etienne's not cooking, like their offense just can't really do anything. Jacoby
Well, I
Myers
mean,
is their
dude, they
best
just threw
wide
for
receiver.
5 touchdowns. Like, I know it was the
Yeah,
Jets,
3 of them
but
were to Etienne.
well, I mean, we gotta shout out the coach here. We're acting like this is a one-man show. Like, Liam Cohen
Oh, I'm not
is
doubting Liam Cohen. I'm just thinking, like, I don't know,
he's
man. Like,
cooking, man. Like, he is
like
cooking.
I'm just saying, like, dude, I don't like. I'm picking the Jags tentatively, but like,
Sounds like you wanna pick Denver.
I kind of do want to pick Denver. I kind
Pick
of want.
Denver, man. Go ride with
I'm
Bo
taking the
Nix.
chat. No, like
Go ride with Bo Nix.
previous history.
Come on, this is
Yeah,
it. This is the big
Your Bo Nix slander has stopped for the last
Yeah,
couple of
yeah,
weeks.
man. He tore Micah's ACL and got a Mickey Mouse win. No, I'm kidding. He played really well against Green Bay. I can't hate, but he did really only start playing well once he went out. But whatever. I made that wager and I was fucking right. So, um, both taking the Jags. I'm excited for that one. Should be a good one. Oh man, Lions Steelers. Now the Lions coming off a loss. We all know they never lose after a loss. I'll be honest, 7-point spread for Detroit, you could maybe tune this up to, like, 16. I swear to God, I think the Lions are going to absolutely dismantle the Steelers team. While I don't even think the Steelers are that bad, you have an old, old team that you are putting them indoors to take on these speedy, flying around, like, extremely athletic Lions offense and that old ass ancient defense. TJ Watt's not playing right with the lung issue. Like, I it just I don't foresee. Yeah, yeah. I mean, no shock, and I also think Herbig is also out. N
Nate
Nick
Herbig,
Herbig.
Nick.
Yeah, Nick Herbig, not Nate. Um, so their 2 top edge rushers are out. Cameron Hayward can probably do some damage in the interior a little bit, but I just think the Lions are way too fast for this old Steelers team. While their defense has struggled a little bit, I do think this is a spot for them to like. The Steelers' offense is still not super
Yeah,
dynamic. It's found a method that's
The
good,
Pittsburgh
but
Steelers
even
are not
Detroit,
built to play in a track meet style game that the
no,
Lions
they're
like to
not.
play.
They are built like the Steelers of classic.
90s.
Muddy, gross, grinded out.
Yeah,
Even with the
and
shitty
honestly though,
defense,
Michael,
like
to me the Lions are like the perfect dome team. They suck outdoors. They're
yeah,
great in their stadium. Like they play
yeah,
great at home. So
yeah.
here's the and listen, cold take by me. I don't think the Steelers are a good team. The Lions can't
For
beat
sure.
good teams. Ergo, they're going to win this game. I'm taking the Lions.
Yeah, and, like, the Lions, this is also, like, a gotta have it game. This is season on the line sort of stuff, so which takes us oh, Jesus, we have another 4:30 game. Raiders-Texans, don't need to spend much time here. It's a huge spread. The Texans are 14.5-point favorites. I don't know, man. There is, like
So
is there a shout?
the fact they slapped that half point on there legitimately tells me that
They know what they're doing.
Pete Carroll may this is going to sound insane what I'm about to say. I'm going to take the Raiders to cover this. They will engineer another backdoor cover because teams that get shut out the prior week tend to cover the spread the following week. And the fact they slapped that half point on there sort of tells me that because the Texans play
The Chargers.
the Chargers next week, they just want to be like what the Eagles did last week. Run the score up.
Well, I mean,
Get the hell out of here.
it's
No one
31
gets
nothing,
hurt.
man.
No one gets hurt. Let's just win this game. Let's just get the F out of here. And then we'll worry about the Chargers next week.
While I agree with you, I just think the defense might be too good to just let it happen. You know what I mean?
I'm sure the Texans defense is like plus 190 to score a touchdown tomorrow. As insane as that sounds, but
Probably not.
doesn't it sound like if
To
there's one
humor
team you want to
to
pick?
humor you, I'm gonna check. I don't it's if I had to
I'm going to
actually
say
guess,
plus 280.
I'm gonna say plus I'm gonna say plus 390. That's my official guess. All right, Raiders, Texans, anytime touchdown. Oh, all right. Maybe a little too aggressive. I guess we should consider that defensive touchdowns really don't happen all that much. Plus 700.
Wow.
Wasn't even close.
Like, can't you kind of see
Anyways,
Kenny fumbling?
it's not Pickett. It's Geno.
Oh, Gino is back.
Yeah, Geno's
That
back.
makes me feel more confident that they can cover the spread.
Does it, dude? Pickett looked horrible against the
No, I mean, no, it makes me feel more confident the Raiders
Oh,
can
that the
cover.
Raiders. Oh, yes, you took the
Yes.
Raiders. That's right, you took the
Yes.
fucking Raiders. Yeah, I don't know, man. The Texans, though, their offense is still what it is. The offensive line isn't as horrible as we thought it was. It's still pretty bad, but, this should be a nice confident building game entering a huge game next week. Takes us to Sunday night. I went on that long tangent talking about the Charger-Cowboy game, about a team with a 700 or higher winning percentage on the road as an underdog against a team that's 500 or worse. Here we have it again, the New England Patriots sitting
Yeah,
at 11
you're
and
only going to get
3.
one of those games. You ain't getting both.
New England Patriots 11 and 3, heading to Baltimore. Ravens are 7 and 7. The Baltimore Ravens are -3. Biggest game of the year. I think this is honestly, I'll be honest, this is a brutal setup, in my opinion, for the New England Patriots. I think this is a great spot for the Ravens, coming off like an ugly win at home or on the road against the Bengals, going against a team who can't stop the run. And what you should really get back to is just pounding the football. You can't super trust your receivers at the moment. Get Lamar confident. And as bad as the Ravens defense has been, I think this is a really tough spot to come to coming off a loss. Like, it's like, oh, this is your bounce back game, and your home choke the division, clinching game against your division rival, blowing a 3 touchdown lead. To me, the recipe of going on the road against the desperate Ravens team on prime time does not sound like the answer to that. I'll be completely
I got to,
honest with you.
Michael, what's the
This is a
difference
Drake
between
May.
the
This is a
Chiefs
Drake
and the
May
Ravens?
win the
Like, let me ask you
MVP
a
game.
question. When you look at, like, I don't know, you look at this Ravens team, they beat, like, our little sisters of the poor, not really convincingly, just get in there, get a win, and get out. They beat another, like, our little sisters of the poor team. But every time they play, like, a semi-decent team this year, it just, I don't know. Like, that's the thing, because Lamar's banged up. They're poorly coached. They have more talent. Like, that's the funny thing. They're way more talented on paper than the
On
New England
offense,
Patriots
yeah.
are.
I mean, the Patriots can't run
Even
the
on
ball well.
defense, dude. What, like Kyle Hamilton's not a top 3
No,
safety?
sure. The
Roquan Smith?
Patriots the Patriots defense, or excuse me, the Patriots offense, their running game, they can't really run the ball super well. Like, anybody can run on Buffalo. Travion Henderson broke 2 50-plus yard touchdowns, and that's great. Maybe he can do it again, but I just think that you look at how Buffalo was able to kinda pound the ball down their throat, even from behind, like, Jesus, even while losing, and I think that Baltimore needs to get out and just be aggressive running the football and kind of establish it against New England and not give them a ton of breathing room. So Give me the Ravens -3 at home here to a win and a Ravens win and a Steelers loss would put Baltimore in first place in the moment.
I'm taking the Patriots, and I'm gonna kind of. I expect them to bounce back. Here's the thing, though, man, is there is. I wouldn't be
Oh, it would not
surprised.
put them in first place. I apologize for that.
I'll be honest, dude. I can kind of see the Ravens winning the majority of this game, and then we see that Drake May come back, like like a typical Harbaugh game mismanagement. Patriots steal it at the end of the game. And listen, we talked about the MVP race, right?
Mhm.
Does Matthew Stafford improve his MVP chances in a loss? Like he played great, but I don't know like them
I mean, his
losing that
MVP
game.
odds his MVP odds were -1,600 when they were up by 16 in the 4th, and now he's -250. Still a favorite, but they lost, and it's like, dude, Stafford really choked away giving up that 2-point conversion. Like, I don't know. It's so
Exactly,
dumb.
right?
However,
But it's
as
a
narrative
narrative
ball
award,
works,
so it is a
as
narrative award.
yeah.
So what happens if the Bills lose to the Browns tomorrow?
I agree with you. What if dude,
So
What if Drake May puts on a
so now
Sunday
it's
night
like Drake
masterclass?
May could win the MVP tomorrow night. Could lock it up. He could. He
He
could.
could.
I don't. And
He
then
could
the Rams got to.
also
Then the
choke it up.
Rams got to play the lowly Falcons awful loss, and they screw around with the Falcons because I don't know. I don't know. Chaos,
So you're
baby.
taking New England. You're
I'm
taking
taking
New
New
England
England.
+3. Monday Night Football.
Wow, Grandpa, Gramps.
Philip Rivers. I can't even. I don't even know what to
What?
say.
Is that
Like,
even
is he? Who's on the other side of that field for the Niners, man? Is it Patrick Willis? Is it Navarro Bowman? Like what is going on here? Philip Rivers taking on the Niners. The Niners are just
Troy
gonna keep
Polamalu and
getting.
Philip Rivers are the same age?
They're just yeah, I know. The Niners are just gonna keep getting gifted these games, aren't they? They're
Correct.
5.5 point favorites on the road here, and it's like, while the Colts still have a
They're the
really good
last
run
place schedule,
defense,
dude. This is what happens,
they were worse than the Cardinals last year.
weren't they?
Damn. Cardinals went 8-9. What a shit show this year's been for them. But Niners are 5.5 point favorites. I mean, regardless, we're talking about last place schedule. This was a good team in the AFC here for a while. This was like, oh, that'll be the tough Niner
I mean,
game.
I don't. I mean, here's the thing though with the Niners defense, and listen, and I think Robert Saleh is one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL. As a head coach, um, I mean, realistically, how much can the Colts get away with Rivers checking everything down? You know,
It
like
feels like Salah should have a better.
Jonathan Taylor has to go off. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Shocker. When Daniel Jones goes down, Jonathan Taylor all of a sudden is a lot more stymied. It's a bad case for
It
the
really shows you
running backs matter
how
argument.
that's it really goes to show you how that Steichen read option like matters because look at Miles Sanders when in that read option, then he leaves and look at his career right now.
And it's just like the threat of a quarterback throwing it downfield. I don't know how far Rivers can throw a football at this point. And, like
He had to
I
get his
think
arm warmed up last week.
thinking of Robert Saleh, I think even with the lack of talent, I mean, they're out Warner and Nick Bosa for the season. Like, it just feels as though they should not be performing halfway decent. But I do think Robert Saleh is aware of what Philip Rivers' limitations
Can I
are, and
can I
as
just give you
veteran DC
my
hold on, as veteran
oh
DC
go
is
ahead.
gonna be a little more aggressive than what Mike McDonald was doing in the Seahawks game, where Mike McDonald was like, "I'm gonna run my stuff no matter what, and that's my too high safety, and I'll live with the checkdowns to death, where I think Sal is gonna try to bring it to Philip Rivers a little bit more.
What are your thoughts on the Colts defense against the Niners offense? Obviously, McCaffrey is, having a, you know,
Nice year.
very nice year.
He's still rushing. Isn't he only like what are his isn't he under 4 yards a carry? He is. He's at 3.6 yards a carry. He's third in carries and 13th in rushing yards. He's gonna get 1,000 rushing yards, but he
He
hasn't
has
been super
86
efficient.
catches on the year, by the
Yeah, I know.
way.
That's pretty obscene. He has
Like, he's
crazy
going to have
numbers.
100 catches this year.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But
Can I throw something by your way, though? Do you think that,
I'm gonna answer your first question about the Colts defense versus the Seahawks or Jesus, versus the
Niners?
Niners offense, is you look at that Seahawks game, and they were able to do a really nice job, um, stopping the Seattle rushing attack, really, and
Yeah.
it put them in a very
Very much
uncomfortable
inspired
situation.
a Shanahan-style offense.
I do think that if there is a way that the Colts keep this game close, it's by their defense just playing out of their minds again. However, I don't know. It's in Indy. It's tough. I could see a path where the Colts keep this close again, but I still
I
am
agree.
gonna go with the Niners -5.5.
I'm going with the Niners as well. I mean, obviously, it would be really nice to see Rivers win a game, in an upset, and plus, like, the Niners just
The
win all these.
Purdy be
The
awesome.
Niners just win all these scrub matchups they're in, and you're like, are they really going to win every single one? I suppose. And the Colts aren't really scrubs per se, like, say, like the
They're
Raiders,
not. They got
for
no,
example.
no. Their defense is good and they got weapons. It's just they're playing a grandfather at quarterback. You can only do so
Right.
much.
I agree. I'm going to take the Niners as well. But anyway, that's our show for today, everybody. Thank you for
Thank you for
tuning
tuning
in.
in.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Go Birds.
We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.